Hey guys, this is Mr. Waltz. I'm going to show you how to do a basic example of the dice design. Now, realize that on the assignment that 10 of your 40 points, that's 25% of your grade, is for creativity, which means it needs to be original design that you've created. And also aesthetics, which means it needs to look good. So if you just copy my basic design, you're probably not going to get too many of those points, and that would give you a C. So if you want an A or a B, you're going to need to take what I'm doing here and expand upon it and make it better and more creative somehow. So with that said, I'm going to go through and just show you how to do the basic improvement to this product. Now, one thing we got to consider when we do this is all the opposite sides on a die add up to 7, and then there's also a pattern. So like there's two patterns, basically a clockwise pattern and a counterclockwise. I'm going to do the counterclockwise one, but like the front would be a 6, right would be a 5, back would be a 1, left would be a 2, and then top would be a 3, and bottom would be a 4. So I'm going to use that pattern when I make my dice. So let's get into Fusion and get cracking. So open your reverse engineering project. Um, if you want to copy these files and give them a different name so you don't lose them, you can do that. I'm just going to go ahead and change them. So I'll start with the front first. I'm going to double click on it and open it up. And I'm going to put a sketch on the front. And there we go. So now I'm sketching on the front. And what I'm going to do is draw some construction lines. They're going to guide my work here. So I'm going to do a couple of horizontal lines first. This horizontal line, don't let it get constrained here. Don't let it go to an endpoint or a midpoint. I'm just going to draw it right about here, a little bit of the way down on that slot, and then go across there. So I'm going to dimension that line so that it's 5/16 of an inch, 5/16 below the top, which is 0.313. Um, and I'm going to draw a similar line on the bottom down here. I could do a mirror if I wanted, but I'm just going to draw it and dimension it with the same dimension. Now remember, when you want to use the same dimension twice, you can just click on the original one and hit enter. Um, okay, cool. I need another center line or midpoint, or sorry, construction line going here. I'm going to go from the midpoint there to the midpoint across. And then I'm going to go to the midpoint right here and go straight down to the other midpoint. And I'm going to do one. Let's see, can I get this midpoint? There it is, and then go straight down here. So now I have a nice grid pattern. So now I'm going to put my pips in. So I'm just going to use the circle tool. I got to make sure I turn construction lines off. And I'm going to go right to this intersection. You'll see it'll snap there, and I'm going to click and draw. And I'm going to make this one 0.25 diameter. So there's my first pip. Then I want to go draw my other pips. Now, what I'm going to do on this, I'm going to use a equal constraint to make them equal. So I'm just going to draw these other circles, random sizes. Make sure you draw them on those intersections. You'll see you'll get an X mark where those are. And then we can just apply our equal constraint. Click on the original one, and then click on one of the blue ones, original, blue, original, blue, original, blue, original, blue. Cool. So now we've got some circles for our pips. I'm going to finish the sketch. You could do whatever size circles you want. Mine are kind of big. I'm going to go to the home view. And then what I'm going to do here is extrude these. So I'm going to click extrude. I'm going to click on all 6 circles. Um, Now, when you do this extrude, you could do it any depth you want. You could make it part way. You could make it all the way. I'm going to go all the way. So I'm dragging it this way. You can see I have a cut extrude. I'm going to change the extent type to all. Boom. Okay, so there, now I've got a 6 done for the front. Now, one other requirement for this project is that you mark all your pieces with your initials. And the reason is we have about 70 students taking this class right now, and we're going to have 6 pieces for students. That's 400 something pieces, and it's going to be easy to get things mixed up. So we want to go ahead and put a mark on here. So I'm going to create another sketch on here and click on the front of this. And I'm going to put this one in the corner. I'm going to go down here and use this corner. I'm going to create a text here. Boom. I'm going to go to this corner here and drag to this corner here. And I'm going to use my text here. I'm just going to type in my initials. So my initials are NJW. You want to pick a font. I have this bond shrift, which actually doesn't work very well. A nice one is Arial Narrow, but you can play around with which fonts work for you. So I'll do Arial Narrow. I'm going to bold it. The height I'm going to use is 0.063, which is, by the way, 1/16. So you go 1/16, 1/16 of an inch, and it just makes it fit into that corner place really nicely. And then my alignment, I have center and align middle. So, anyways, that just makes this nice little initials down there in the corner. Now, right now, that is just in a sketch. There's nothing there. And what you're going to see is the new way that we're doing things in Fusion to go to the Glowforge is we're going to need to make this 3D. It can't just be a two-dimensional sketch. So you can extrude text. I get a little better results. I get less problems if I finish my sketch and I'm going to use Create. There's a tool here called Emboss. All right. So I'm going to click Emboss, and it wants two things. It wants the sketch profile you want to emboss, and then it wants to know what you want to cut it out of. So I'm going to click on that text. There's my emboss. I'm going to click faces, and then I'm going to click on this surface here, the wood. All right. And what it wants to do is it wants to emboss outwards by default. That's called an emboss. But what you want to choose here is called deboss. Deboss means it's going to cut in. You'll notice that the depth becomes negative. You can use just about any number here that you want, but I'm just going to use a very shallow number, which is negative 0.005, 5 thousandths of an inch. And that'll just make it slightly embossed. And then what we can do is on the laser, when we wanted to make that, we can use, there's actually an engrave feature. We could also use the score feature, and I'll show you that in a later video. So anyway, so now we've got the front done. It's number 6. What you want to do here is save it. Okay. Hit OK. So now that's saved. And then we need to update our assembly. So I'm going to double click on the assembly to open it. There's my assembly. And you'll notice it doesn't have the 6 on it. And there was a little warning that flashed up. And you'll notice I have some exclamation points here. So what this means is we need to update the assembly. And the way you do this is right up here. There's a little thing. This is like an update thing, and it updates links. It looks like a chain because it's linked. What it means is this assembly is linked to that front part that we made just now. So the front and assembly are linked. We have to update the link. All you do is click there, and it's going to think a little bit, and it will bring that in. And so now we have our 6 there, and it's got the initials on it, and we're ready to go on the next one. So I'll see you in the next video, show you how to do the next number. Good luck, have fun.